Today we're talking about the recent revelation by Justin Timberlake that he was diagnosed with Lyme disease. This happened during his recent tour where he was criticized for some of the quality of his performances, and he stated that he revealed this in order to raise awareness because of the terrible symptomatology of Lyme disease, and so that patients are aware of the symptoms and can get appropriate treatment. So what is Lyme disease? Lyme disease is one of the most common tick-borne illnesses in the United States. It's caused by a bacteria that's on the tick called Borrelia burgdorferi, and basically when the tick bites the person, that bacteria can infect the patient, and typically the bacteria incubates for a period of about 3 to about 30 days. Lyme disease is divided into 3 stages. Each stage has increasing degrees of severity, and treatment is usually most effective if antibiotics are started early on in the following the infection. So stage 1 of Lyme disease is called the early localized stage. It's characterized by a bullseye rash. It doesn't always look like a bullseye, but you can see what it looks like typically on the diagram attached, and this is called erythema migrans. This happens usually at the site of the tick bite. The other symptoms include fevers, headaches, generalized malaise, muscle and joint pain. It's important to note that the majority of patients who have these symptoms don't recall being bitten by a tick. So it's important that if you have these types of symptoms that you seek medical attention early so appropriate treatment can be started early, because at this point treatment is usually most effective in preventing the late sequelae of Lyme disease, which can be much more debilitating. The second stage of Lyme disease is called early disseminated stage. At this point, the erythema migrans can actually migrate to different parts of the body and is not necessarily just in the area of the tick bite. The bacteria at this stage spreads to the rest of the body, and at this point, neurologic symptoms such as facial nerve palsy, usually what we call a Bell's palsy, where damage occurs along the course of the facial nerve, can occur. Meningitis, as well as heart problems such as irregular heartbeat, can occur. Injury to the spinal nerves, what we call spinal radiculitis, can occur, as well as certain types of meningitis. Finally, the late disseminated stage is known as the chronic stage of Lyme disease, and this occurs months to years after the infection. This can cause arthritis, neurologic disorders such as brain fog, memory loss, as well as cardiac problems, and this can be much more difficult to treat. So important that if you have symptoms of Lyme disease, to catch it early, to notice you develop the rash, and if you are outdoors, to look for ticks, because the ticks usually you want to remove within 24 hours of them attaching onto you.